Welcome back to the channel. This is Michael from TOEFLresources.com, and today I want to talk about TOEFL speaking question number 2 on the new version of the TOEFL. Yes, as of August 1st, 2019, the TOEFL has changed. There are now just 4 questions in the speaking section of the test. This video should help you prepare for question number 2. Now, this is a slightly revised version of a video I uploaded a few days ago. Based on some feedback that came in during the first weekend of the test, I decided to revise the video and delete the old one. So even if you think you've seen this already, I do encourage you to check it out. So, in today's video, I'm going to start by talking about the structure of this question. I'll continue by giving you some tips about how to take good notes. I'll give you a template you can use to answer the question. I'll give you a few tips and tricks to bring your answer to the next level. I'll give you a sample answer, and at the end of the video, I'll talk a little bit about how this question is actually scored. So let's get started by talking about the structure of the question. Here's how it goes. First, you will read a short campus announcement, an article in a campus newspaper, or a letter published in a newspaper. That'll be about 100 words. It's going to describe some change that is happening, or it will propose some change that the writer thinks should happen. Now, these changes are usually related to things like academic facilities, or academic programs or extracurricular stuff. It's always things that are happening on or around a university. Now, in the reading, there will be 2 reasons that explain why the change will or should be made. You're going to have 45 seconds to read it all. After that, the reading disappears, and you will hear 2 students talk about it for about 1 minute. One of the students in that conversation will express an opinion about the change. He or she will agree with the change, disagree with the change, or, and this is very rare, have a mixed opinion of the change. He or she will specifically refer to the reasons for the change that were stated in the reason as he gives his opinion. Now, after you hear the conversation, you're going to get the question prompt, and it's going to look something like this. The woman expresses her opinion of the university's plan. State her opinion and the reasons she gives for holding that opinion. You're given 30 seconds to speak, 30 seconds to prepare, and 60 seconds to speak. Now, of course, the parts in orange here will change depending on the content of the reading and the conversation, of course. Today, as a sample question, I'm going to use one from the TOEFL Quick Prep collection from ETS, specifically the question found in Volume 1, page 23. I do encourage you to load that Quick Prep collection. I'll put a link to it down below in the video description, so that you can follow along with the reading and a transcript of the conversation. Just look for the one that's about sculpture courses. All right, so the first thing we need to do to answer this question is to take some good notes. Now, these are the kind of notes I want you to take on test day. Over here on the left, I have the reading notes I got from this question. Now, what kind of reading notes did I take? Well, I started by very quickly making a note of what the change actually is. In this case, the change is simply that the school's sculpture program will be eliminated. After that, I quickly made notes of the 2 reasons given for this change. The first reason is there's a lack of interest and low enrollment. The second reason is that there's a limited budget. Now, one thing you can probably notice is that my reading notes are much shorter than my conversation notes. This is because the reading summary is much less important for your answer. You're going to spend much more time summarizing the conversation when you give your answer, so you need longer notes about it. Now you're probably asking, what kind of notes do I need to take about the conversation? Well, let's start at the top. First of all, I very quickly took a note of whether the person opposes, agrees, or has a mixed opinion. In this case, the woman opposes the change. That's all I wrote. After that, I made a note about her first reason for opposing it. And I said that she noted enrollment is low because students are busy with required classes about painting and drawing. So just change these requirements and there'll be more students in the sculpture classes. Next, I made some notes about her second reason, which is that you can solve the budget problem by hiring a part-time professor or asking a professor from some other subject to teach it. They all have secondary fields, and so some of the painters are actually really great sculptors. Now note this is very important. The first reason given by the woman directly challenges the first reason given in the reading. And the second reason given by the woman directly challenges the second reason given in the reading. Now this will happen whether or not the person supports the change or if they have a mixed opinion of the change. You're always going to find this matching up. That's important to keep in mind because it should make your job as a test taker a little bit easier if you know this. So don't forget. All right, so I've got my notes. Now it's time to speak and deliver my answer. How do I structure the answer? Well, if you've seen my videos, you do know I love these templates. Now for this question, here's the template I teach my students. It's 5 parts. First of all, I state the change. I do it like this, according to the announcement, or the letter, or the article, and then I just state it in one sentence. Next, I state both of the reasons for the change in one sentence. This is because reason 1 and reason 2. Next, I give a transition. Now, in this case, you do have to pick one of these 2 transitions. First of all, in most of the cases, here's what you're going to say. There are 2 reasons why the man opposes this, or there are 2 reasons why the man supports this. Of course, it could be a woman. Now, in one of those rare cases when it's a mixed opinion, you're going to want to use this transition. The man has a mixed opinion of this change. After that, give the first reason. First of all, he argues that, and just state what he says with as many details as you can fit in. Next, state the second reason. Moreover, he mentions that, and then state the second reason with as many details as you can. Now, if you get a mixed opinion and you really want to draw attention to the fact that it's a mixed opinion, you might say something like, on the other hand, he mentions that, and then you just mention all the details. But basically, this 5-part template should work every week, no matter what. No matter what kind of discussion they're having, no matter what the subject of the change is, you should be able to fit it into this template. Try it out for yourself. Now, before I give you the sample answer, just a few tips and tricks that should make your work a bit more sophisticated and should help you get a better score. First of all, I want you to use discourse phrases like as a result, or however, or in addition, therefore, however, additionally, for instance. These kinds of phrases link ideas and they make your answer more comprehensive and sophisticated and hopefully increase your score as well. Next up, spend just 10 to 13 seconds talking about the reading at the very most. Remember, most of your score is based on your summary of the listening part. The reading part is much less important. And so with that in mind, if you're a slow speaker, take out the second part of the template. Don't mention the reasons for the change. That's the least important part of your answer because you do touch on them in the listening summary anyways. Lastly, try your best to create some compound sentences using conjunctions like for, and, but, or so. Those, again, are a good way to link ideas and to improve the range of your grammatical structures. All right, with that out of the way, let's talk about this sample answer for the question we just took notes about. Again, this follows the template, which you can see in purple on the screen. First of all, I state the change. According to the article, the school's sculpture program will be eliminated. Then I state both the reasons. This is because there isn't much interest in it, and the university's budget is limited. Then I give the transition. There are 2 reasons why the man opposes this. Then I give the first reason. First of all, he argues that enrollment is low because students are busy taking required classes, not because they are disinterested. These mandatory classes are mostly about painting and drawing. However, if the requirements are changed, more students will take sculpture classes. Then I give the second reason. Moreover, he mentions that the budget problem can be solved by hiring a part-time professor. Additionally, many current instructors have a secondary field, so one of them could probably teach the class. In fact, some of the current painting teachers are also great sculptors. So as you can see, I just followed the template and filled in the blanks. That's all I did. Now, I do want to draw your attention to a couple things that I highlighted in orange, because those are some of the tips and tricks I mentioned before. First of all, I used mandatory classes here instead of just repeating required classes. In order to get a good score, you do want to avoid repeating words if possible. You want to show off a nice wide range of vocabulary. Next up, I used a few transitional phrases, a few discourse phrases. Additionally, in fact, and I didn't highlight it, but I also used however. These phrases link ideas, increase your score. Lastly, I want to highlight that I used so to create a nice compound sentence. If I just have a lot of short, simple sentences, even if my grammar is perfect, I will get a low score. So try your best to use a mix of both simple and compound sentences. If those grammatical terms are new to you, you'd better look them up because they are very important. All right, that's about all I have to say about putting your answer together, but I want to just very quickly end by talking a bit about how you are going to be graded on this section of the test. Now, I'm going to keep this very short because a little bit later, I'm going to make a full-length video about the grading system, and that will give you a whole lot more information. So just keep an eye out for that in the future. But right now, I do need to point out that you are graded from 1 to 4 in 3 different areas. They are delivery, language use, and topic development. Now, these all have equal value, and they're all graded separately. However, there is going to be some overlap, right? If your delivery is bad, it might affect your topic development. Likewise, if your language use is bad, it could have some effects on your topic development. So nothing is totally graded in complete isolation. But what do I mean by delivery? Well, that refers to how easily the grader can actually understand what you're saying. If the grader has to use a lot of extra effort to understand your accent or your pronunciation, you're going to lose points. Likewise, if you have a lot of pauses and choppiness and hesitation in between words, if you have to stop and think, or you just have a lot of and pauses, that affects your delivery and it will reduce your score. Next up is language use. In the integrated questions, this really refers to your grammatical correctness. If you have mistakes in your spoken grammar, it's going to reduce your language use score. Likewise, if you repeat words a lot, it's going to reduce your language use score. Lastly is topic development. This, in the integrated section, mostly refers to your accuracy and your level of detail. So in order to get a good score in topic development, you obviously need to have an accurate summary of the reading, and you need to accurately summarize the speaker's opinion. And you need to be able to make those connections between the reading and the lecture part, or the reading and the conversation part, I should say. If you can't make those connections, your score will go down a little bit. All right, that's all I have to say about this speaking question. But if you have any questions for me, please leave them down below. I'll try to answer those as soon as I can. If you want to know a bit more about what I do, please check out my website, which is TOEFLresources.com. On that site, you can find guides to all of the writing and speaking questions. You can ask me questions. And best of all, you can sign up for my essay and my speaking evaluation services. Those do cost a little bit of money, but they are a service that a lot of students seem to enjoy. So I encourage you to check them out. All right, I'm going to leave them at that, but please come back next week for a new video about the TOEFL. Take care until then, guys. Goodbye.